It's so cringy when you see these Instagram reels from these professionals or people are trying to be professionals and the reels or video in general is just super blurry or just doesn't sound good. It can't be something that happens when you're trying to make a full-time living on social media. So today I'm going to show you how to get the best Instagram reel quality possible, and it also kind of carries over to just video in general. So if you're trying to make a living on social media, you have to be taken seriously, and you won't be taken seriously if your video quality sucks or your audio quality sucks, but we'll be saving audio for another day. Hey everybody, my name's Doug, and my wife Haley and I have this channel so we can help content creators turn their following into an actual business. So if that's something that you want to do, feel free to hit subscribe, and if you like the video, like it. And with that, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so first things first, there's no magical one button fix all for video quality. There's going to be lots of tweaking, there's going to be lots of setting changes, there's going to be lots of testing, there's going to be a lot of different things that you have to try to get the perfect video quality, because not everything's going to be equal across devices or across conditions when you're filming, like the lighting or sound or things like that. So there's no one magic trick, but these tips that I'm about to give you are going to be something that will really help. And honestly, some of you are going to hate or really dislike the advice that I give here in this video, but as somebody who does this for a living, this advice is going to be as real as it gets. So this first optional, but kind of not optional thing is that it really depends on the device that you're using. And honestly, if you want to be taken seriously on Instagram, you have to have an iPhone. Now look, I hate iPhones, okay? I honestly do. I don't like Apple as a company. I don't like the devices that they put out or the computers or anything like that. I've always been a PC and Android person. But when we decided that I should be taking more of an active role on social media here on the channel or, on our account, then I needed to be more active in filming my face and filming myself. And so when I would do that with my Android phones, the quality just wasn't there. So I had a Galaxy S21 Ultra. Nothing. I also had a Pixel 6 Pro. That was also blurry. And even though that those phones might have better hardware, it really comes down to the software and the app that it's working with. So you see, when Instagram has to make an app that's compatible with a bunch of different Android devices, its code has to be a little bit loose and it has to be able to fit lots of different types of cameras. Therefore, the software that basically runs to turn the file that's from your phone into something that's on Instagram, it has to be able to fit a wide range, again, of different types of phones, which means it's kind of a jack of all trades, but a master of not having the highest quality. Now, Apple, on the other hand, uses very, very similar, if not the exact same, even across multiple years, technology and coding for its devices, which means Instagram only has to focus on like one or two, maybe three different types of devices that it has to write its code for. And so what does that mean? That means that Apple devices have a higher quality upload on Instagram specifically for Reels and Stories than an Android phone does. So yeah, it sucks, but it's something that you do have to take into consideration. And I know some people personally that have personal Android phones, but they have the highest or best quality iPhone that they can get just for social media. So now, one thing that's better than an iPhone for your Instagram Reels is having an actual camera. Now don't worry if you're here for like tips on your phone, I'm going to be getting to those. I'm not forgetting all that, but let's be honest, okay? When you want the highest quality, when you do this for a living, when you want to do this professionally, you're going to go out and get the best equipment possible. And so one of those pieces of equipment is a high quality camera and a high quality lens. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to record the same scene in the same settings with the same lighting with my phone, my iPhone 13 Pro Max, and then my Sony a7 IV. Okay, so I've got my iPhone 13 Pro Max set up. It's next to my Sony a7 IV. My Sony a7 IV has a 35mm 1.4 GM lens on it, okay? It's a pretty good lens. Now, when you look at the two side by side, we're going to try to keep comparisons as equal as we can for comparison's sake, but there are some differences in colors. There's differences in quality and blurriness. And if I get, closer to things, although my Sony camera, there it is. Now it's actually sitting there and autofocusing. There is a clear difference in quality between the two. And I'm not recording the Sony a7 IV in 4K or anything like that. I'm trying to keep the resolution the same as possible, the file settings the same as possible, the lighting is the same and everything. There's just a sheer difference in level of detail and level of quality, and honestly just how a actual camera looks more professional than a iPhone does. So most pros today are going from influencers to legitimate entrepreneurs. That means they have like filming setups and they have legitimate cameras to be able to do their social media with. They'll have actual microphones to do their social media with. Some of them even have like filming studios and entire places that they set up their podcasts, but their podcast studios also used to be able to do their reels. It's just kind of the way that the industry is heading nowadays. And speaking of entrepreneurs on social, if you're watching this video, maybe you've seen some people that do stuff like this with the professional looking reels and the captions that come over it and things like that. And they're actually making a living on social media. And you probably sat there and thought to yourself, hey, I could do that too. I just need like the steps on how to do so. And if that's the case, we actually have a free 5-day challenge on taking you from $0 to $100,000 in just 12 months. The challenge is totally free. You can check out the link in the description below. Okay, that's enough for the plug. So let's say that you need to be able to improve your quality no matter the device, whether you're on an iPhone 13 Pro Max or you're on an Android Galaxy S21 Ultra or you're on a Sony camera like the one that I'm on now. Basically, no matter what device you're on, you need to be able to increase the quality of your Instagram Reels as much as possible. So the first place that I'm going to start with here is shot prep. So no matter what you do with your export settings or color grading or video edits or like fancy graphics or anything like that, if your shot is not properly prepped, meaning you have adequate lighting and you have good audio and your framing is correct, there's not much that you can do to make it the best or the highest of quality. So the first thing that I always recommend is you need to be able to get in front of one of these, a window. Okay, so for example, this is like a low light situation with my iPhone that's here. I know that it's like a little weird and the office is kind of messy and stuff, but you could just see like if I'm in super low light, the quality just isn't gonna be there. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll turn on a light just to like be safe. You know, I'm guessing you guys aren't gonna try to film in the dark here, but this is what it looks like when you have a light on and maybe this is your only light source. Okay, the quality of this isn't gonna be that great. When in fact, all you actually have to do is just get in front of a window. If you get in front of a window, there's a lot more light, there's a lot more detail that the camera can pick up, and honestly, it just makes things a lot better. This applies across no matter what device you're on. Being able to get in front of a window is something that is going to greatly increase the quality of your video. So if you can't sit in front of a window, get yourself some light boxes. I'll link the light boxes that we have down in the description below or in our kit. You can check that out too for all of the gear that we use. Light boxes are super helpful. You can move them around the house, you can film at night, you can do stuff like that. Now, if you can't get light boxes, you can't get in front of a window, maybe you could try even filming outside during the day. Yes, some of you might have to go outside to get some good lighting, but it's something that will be absolutely worth it to be able to increase the quality of your Instagram Reels. Now, while you're at it, this isn't part of the video, but with sound quality, when it comes to sound, you want to be in a place that's not windy, it's not too echoey. If you can, use a mic. A mic will help tremendously. Nobody likes listening to somebody that sounds like they're talking inside of a toilet. I mean, I literally bought the most silent computer cooler possible in order to be able to make the best video so you don't hear like a constant humming coming from the side even with this mic. Sound quality is super important. So now that you did your best to be able to get your shot prepped as well as possible and you did your filming, and let's say that you're not going to be editing on something that's like, you know, on a computer or on a separate program, you did everything on your phone. There are a couple things that you need to make sure that are ready and set before you actually upload to Instagram directly from your phone. First, you need to be able to have quality internet. Now, no, this is not 100% confirmed, but we have seen correlation between poor internet connection or slow internet speed and low quality Instagram Reels or low quality video upload onto Instagram. So make sure you're on Wi-Fi, or at least make sure that you have some type of good 5G connection somewhere. Now, the second thing is that you actually need to turn on a setting within the Instagram app. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and go on and open up Instagram, head over to your profile and hit the little 3-line hamburger menu in the upper right. Then you're going to hit your settings. And after you go to settings, you're gonna click on account. And after you click on account, depending upon what kind of an account you have, you're going to scroll on down to data usage. And under data usage, there is a checkbox or a slider or setting thing for high quality uploads. I don't know why this isn't just checked by default. Everything should be high quality uploads, but it is a thing you can turn on and turn off. So there it is. Go ahead and make sure that yours is turned on. Okay. And lastly, one thing that we have seen as well is that when you use really heavy filters, so filters with lots of colors or lots of animations, combined with like, you know, low quality internet and that little box isn't checked, it can really hinder performance when uploading an Instagram reel. When you go through and you do your reel and you add a filter or something like that, just double check, make sure that doesn't make things too choppy or doesn't make things any too grainy. All right, now if you are going to be uploading from your computer or you're going to be editing on a different type of program, there are some settings that you're going to want to double check depending upon whatever program that it is that you're using. This is going to be something that lots of people have like different opinions on, but I'm gonna try to keep it like base level as easy as possible, so that way it's nothing that's too complicated. Okay, so first off, obviously your project settings should be in 1080 by 1920. Now I use DaVinci Resolve to do all of my video editing. This is really easy to change in the project settings. You go ahead and you jump up, you click into the project settings, you change it to a custom resolution, and you're done. Pretty simple. What that does is that makes it up and down, vertical for Reels, and it's not side to side like it should be for YouTube. Now, just a random side note, if you're using footage that was filmed sideways like this, it will be in 1920 by 1080, or whatever 16 by 9 dimension landscape is there. And if you go ahead and try to put that into a reel that's 1080 by 1920 and you zoom it to filter the whole reel, what's going to happen is your footage is going to be blurry. It will be pixelated because you're essentially zooming in on it. Okay, it's not the same dimensions at all when you try to fill it. If you don't fill it, then it's not going to be zoomed in. You're not going to lose any quality, but just keep that in mind if you're using old footage in your reel. So to avoid that, you can shoot in 4K if possible, if you have a camera that does that. If you're like recording a YouTube video and you reuse it as a reel, then you want to make sure that you're in 4K. Your next setting that you're going to want to check is your frames per second, or your FPS. Most people will be in 30 or 29.97. I think some other countries might shoot in 25 frames per second, like Canada or Europe or something like that. They do things a little bit different. It's just for that cinematic, pretty natural look, but that's what Instagram recommends. Now, when you're doing the actual exporting, Instagram does have recommended codecs when you export. I know this is getting a little bit in the weeds, but it's H.264 for your video codec, and then AAC for your audio codec. Now, yeah, there are things you can do with like bit rates and other stuff you could do with your sampling and other like video settings that you can set. But honestly, like most of the stuff that we've already talked about is going to be the most important when it comes down to like getting the Instagram Reels to highest quality possible. A lot of programs come with like preset settings, like DaVinci Resolve has a YouTube setting, which works perfectly fine as long as your video quality and your shot prep and everything else is good. Now, some people also from here will compress their files additionally with a program called Handbrake. Now, remember earlier I talked about Instagram needing a similar file size across everybody's Reels, so that when you scroll through it, it's really seamless and easy to scroll, and you don't have to download a 3 GB video versus a 15 MB video. Now, some people will go through and compress their file as much as they can through Handbrake. I really haven't seen too much of a gain in quality on that, and not really either a loss in quality either when I upload something that's too large, but that's something that's totally up to you to try. You can always give it a try and see what happens, between two very similar files. Now, finally, the final step that I have here for you to be able to get the most highest quality Instagram Reels possible is that when you are moving your files around, either like from you to your editor or from your phone to your computer or computer to your phone, you need to use a file transfer process that is called lossless. Okay, so Google Drive, go for it. Dropbox, go for it. I even think iPhone, your Apple using AirDrop is lossless. But if you do something like text yourself your files from your phone to your computer using iMessage or something, or you do something with texting that's a little bit weird, it's going to compress your file. And some other sites do compress files, especially if they're over a certain file limit. And that means you lose quality every time you sit there and transfer back and forth. Okay, so keep that in mind whenever you transfer things. Try to use something like Google Drive or Dropbox. I mean, Google Drive's like free, so I don't see why you wouldn't just go through and do that. Yeah, it takes a little bit extra time, but it's something that makes sure you have the highest quality possible. All right, so that's it with these tips and tricks and tweaks and the testing that you'll have to do to just make sure that all the settings are right. You're gonna have the highest quality Instagram Reels possible, and hopefully your growth in followers and then your growth in income from that is reflective in the work that you've done to get here. So hopefully they'll look 10 times better. You'll be 10 times more confident the next time you're on camera, and it's gonna be awesome. So hopefully this video helped. If it did, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, do all the things. If you have any questions about like how any of this works, or you want a more in-depth, detailed tutorial on how to be able to do this, or you want to hear stuff about audio next time, which I am a huge fan of having really good audio, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.